16 of King's Spawn. In the first things first, do these covers in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside with the story? Sure enough they do. To which I give the first cover on the left hand side a 7 out of 10, and the same again for the one on the right hand side. It's now time to move into the internal art, to which we'll get to have a look at what's happening story wise. And as the story begins, we catch up with the character of the clown and what he's actually trying to do in the area of Spawn. And of course, I believe that's Redeemer there. It wasn't very clearly stated, though it wouldn't have hurt to include the name. As the story continues, we get to see some of the things that are happening on the streets of New York City. Until last but not least, things start to approach the end game of what the clown has in store for Spawn. So jumping into the next one, we get quite an interesting array of internal art here for this particular issue. Jumping a little bit further into the story, we can see that Al Simmons certainly has something planned up his sleeve in a way to counter what is happening. One thing I do believe it might be missing in this story is the group of Scorched, which probably wouldn't hurt to include them in the story. As the story continues, we get to see what's happening. I believe it's with Terry here, and we get a bit of a flashback to his past in the area of Bogota in Colombia. And as things continue, we get a meeting of characters. Some not clearly specified, which would sort of help the story a little bit more. So for the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. For the story, first things first, did this story give us any comic references? Sure enough, it did. We had Spawn issue 301 and also Gunslinger Spawn issue 7 to 9, mainly because of the character of the clown. The next area was the area of time, to which the time was actually used in regards to a flashback, and that time that was used was 1985. The locations that we got in this were New York City, we had DC, and also Bogota. Last but not least, the cast of characters consisting of Clown, Spawn, Morona, Kernox, Raven, Disruptor, Terry Fitzgerald, Brimstone, who's made his appearance in here, and this is a image version of Brimstone, not DC. And last but not least, the character of Black Azrael. The overall story rating I gave for this was a 7 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful. I'll be covering 17 and 18 of King's Spawn. I'll be reviewing them all as one story, but we will get to see the internal art as well as what's happening with 17 and 18 story-wise. So, first things first, do the covers in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside of the story? Sure enough they do, to which I give both the first and second cover a 7 out of 10. To move into the internal art, which we'll have a look at what's happening in the first one as well as what's happening story-wise. And as the story begins, we've got some of the villains teaming up together, and we also know that the character of Brimstone has made his appearance. And this is not the DC version of Brimstone. This is actually the Image Comics version, created by the creator of Spawn himself, so their own version in the Spawn universe. We have the appearance of Spawn himself and what's happening there. One good thing I must admit with these issues is that there's hardly any ads, so big thumbs up to the creator of Spawn in relation to that. And last but not least, what's happening towards the end. I'll now move into the next issue. And as the next issue begins, we have the Kingslayer return, and of course the woman that is called Mother, or Guy, I think it is. We see more of the return of Spawn in this, which is really nice. The group that calls themselves Tehillim 137 or Psalms 137. As things advance within the story, we get to see a little bit more of a fight occurring. Until last but not least, we have Al Simmons reunite with one of his partners from the past. So for the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the story rating. Now, first things first, did we get any comic book references? Sure enough, we did. And that was to issue 17. So it's really good because covering issue 17, get a reference to it. The next area is that of time. Did we get any indication of time to when some of these things were taking place or when they were taking place? Not at all. The next area is that of location, to which we had the mention of the dead zones, but we never got to see anything actually come out of the dead zones. And last but not least is the area of the cast of characters, to which we had Brimstone, we had the Court of Priests, we had Terry, Spawn, Oracle, the Kingslayer, of course, who made their return, and I think it's Matt Rosen. There are a couple of others here, but because of my bad writing, and this is why I like to type some of this stuff up, so at least I know what characters I'm talking about. The overall story rating for this is a 6.5 out of 10. I do feel that the quality of the storytelling has dropped, and it would be better for the writer to acknowledge that with every new issue that goes out, it's going to be a new comic for someone to pick it up every time. Yeah, it's great to have a nice list of cast of characters, but without, for example, more indications in locations that the characters travel to, it would make a little bit more sense to the reader, and maybe even time. It's credit where it's due in regards to the comic reference. Until then, let's keep it colorful and have yourself an awesome day.